Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, July 27th in the year 2023, and welcome to Simply Bitcoin. I will be your host, Opti, or aka Optimus Fields, and we are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, and mimetic warfare. We bring on Bitcoiners from all around the world, from the biggest names to the everyday Bitcoiner. We got them all. And we will be your guide through the separation of money and state. And a constant theme we've been talking about here on the show is things are heating up, man. The Overton window regarding Bitcoin is heating up. We have crossed the Rubicon into mainstream consciousness, and everyone and their mother is talking about Bitcoin, and you just love to see it. You love to see the Overton window shifting inch by inch, block by block towards the Bitcoin signal. Bitcoin signal is going mainstream, and the problems that Bitcoiners have been identifying for over a decade now, and as long as I've been in Bitcoin, are now being spoken about at the highest levels, and you just love to see it. Love to see it. But of course, on my co-host today, I'm not alone, but a little spoiler alert, my co-host today, Mike Hobart, found a very interesting research paper that kind of went under the radar. It's a year old by this point, but it is now coming out, and it does makes you wonder a few things. Is BlackRock getting absolutely bullish about Bitcoin, or are they feeding us what we want to hear? Anyways, as you guys can tell from the title, there's a research paper from employees that work at BlackRock saying that the ideal investment portfolio of Bitcoin, or of your personal investment portfolio, should be heavy on Bitcoin. And this is something we tell you guys all the time, hey, stay humble, stack sats, stay solvent, all that good stuff. But if you're not all in on Bitcoin, what are you actually doing, guys? Come on, do not waste this opportunity right now. But again, should we be skeptical of this paper? And I'm sure we're going to talk about this during the news segment. Or are they just seeing fiat gains? Are they just talking their bag and wanting to pump it? Well, we'll be talking about that. We'll get a little devil's advocate, a little skeptical on it as well. But on the other news, today's numbers, I do have some more news coming out from RFK Jr. And you guys know me. I'm as skeptical as it comes when we talk about politicians. But Robert Kennedy Jr. really seems to be putting his money where his mouth is. He really does seem to be a Bitcoiner. Again, he's a politician, so maybe he's just talking to a voting bloc that is the Bitcoiners. But he had a huge spaces yesterday on Twitter with some awesome Bitcoiners and one notorious shitcoiner. But that's besides the point. And oh, wait, hold on. Okay, I made it past the first 2 minutes. Okay, good to go. But he sounds like a Bitcoiner, guys. He's been saying the things that we've been talking about. I got some good quotes from that spaces. I even have a little bit where Robert Breedlove asked him a question, what the difference between money printing and counterfeiting is, and he sounds like a Bitcoiner. So, let's not try to simp for anyone just because they say Bitcoin. I've been saying this for a long time, but you love to see the Overton window shifting towards our direction, towards our message. And this is a win. Whether you agree with him or whether you don't, the fact that these conversations are happening by a presidential electee, a nomination, or a presidential hopeful, I think is signal and signs for things to come in the future. Bitcoin will be a point of contention. Maybe not this election, but definitely by the 2028 election. Everyone will have to have a Bitcoin stance, or rather, what we're probably going to see in the 2024 election is whether they are pro CBDCs or anti CBDCs. So this is very interesting stuff. But I remember a comment that my buddy Weinicke said, and it was a funny statement, really made me laugh. And he's like, it's a very interesting and probably a bad take for a presidential nominee to be talking about Bitcoin because no one likes Bitcoiners. So that's a weird platform to run on. But hey, he's saying all the things us Bitcoiners love. So nonetheless, the conversation surrounding Bitcoin is changing and it's heading into the halving. I think it's going to be extremely bullish. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to feel the bullish flutters. I'm starting to feel the butterflies here, and I'm trying to stay humble, stack sats, and stay solvent. Anyways, as I told you, I'm not alone. I got my boy Mike Hobart here, and everyone loves when Mike and I get on the show and we just start ranting, and I think today's going to be no different. He's usually the sober Bitcoiner, and I get stupidly bullish, but I think on today we might get bullish and skeptical. Anyways, Mike, how you doing? Good to have you, bro. How have you been since the last time we brought you on?
I've been doing great, man. And thanks for bringing me on. I have a great time. I think I have, well, believe it or not, I might have more fun coming on here than the listeners do, and like listening to us rant. Um, but I've been busy and grinding, man. For those that don't know, I've been on the job hunt for a couple months, and let me tell you guys, if you have a fiat mining like operation, don't lose it, because the job market is not as great as like the all of these furus on Twitter are making it sound out to be. But I'm doing great, man. Like, it's been a busy week for me too. So
Love it,
let's get
love
into
it. Yeah, and you've had some articles go viral on Zero Hedge, and we'll talk about them a little later. Actually, we'll plug them at the end because we don't want to turn anyone off already. All right, guys, let's get into the numbers because we got a lot to talk about.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed.
Definitely make sure you guys are not storing your seed phrase in your sock drawer on a piece of paper, but scan the QR code and you guys can go straight to Stamp Seed and get yourself a titanium seed phrase storage kit. This is the way. Anyways, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. Of course, one of the best dashboards in the game. There's a few other ones, but hey, we use Clark Moody over here as a legacy nod over here. But we are on Bitcoin.clarkmoody.com, as you can tell. And the current block height is the only number that really matters. No one cares about the date anymore. The only number that really matters is block height goes up. TikTok next block. Honey Badger don't care. And we are currently at 800,508. The current Bitcoin price is $29,280 per Bitcoin, which means at the Moscow time, aka how much your dollar is worth, aka how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, is currently at 3,415. Excuse me. And the total percentage issued of Bitcoin that will ever be released, that will ever be created, is 92.57%. The market cap in fiat terms is $569.2 billion. The realized monetary inflation, taking fiat currencies to school, is currently at 1.76%. The Bitcoin versus gold market cap is 4.33%. Bitcoin isn't even at 5% of the gold market cap, and you guys don't think you're early. Couldn't be me, can't relate. Anyways, the total lightning capacity, public lightning capacity, is 4,683.1 BTC. The hash rate for the last 90 days is 368.5 exahashes, and the pending fees is 2.19 BTC. It's almost like Bitcoin works. It's almost like the mempool will always clear. Anyways, as I was telling you guys in the beginning, yesterday, RFK Jr. was in a space with a bunch of Bitcoiners. I forget who they were. There's like Marty Bent, Nat Burnell, I think Robert Breedlove, a notorious shitcoiner that I'm not going to name, and there was one more that I'm forgetting. But there's a lot of good quotes and sound bites that come out from this space, and it really makes you wonder, is RFK Jr. actually believing what he says? Is he a Bitcoiner, or is he just giving lip service to all of us Bitcoiners? Of course, as a Bitcoiner, we do not trust politicians inherently, but it really does seem like he is a Bitcoiner and he really does believe what he's saying. Whether he has all the facts or not, I think might be a point of contention, but considering his family lineage, what has happened in his family and in his personal life, it really does seem like he believes in Bitcoin like we believe. And of course, as Bitcoiners, we understand one thing, especially here on Simply Bitcoin, you know, if you want to change the world, as much as we don't like politics, it's behooves us as Bitcoiners to get involved, whether it's on a local level. Yes, maybe we can't change the federal level, but Bitcoin is a point of contention, and Bitcoin will be something that changes the world. And having favorable laws in regards to Bitcoin is something that I would love personally. Anyways, we're over here on Bitcoin Magazine. There's some good tweets, and I'm going to read some tweets, and I do have a clip here in regards to a little snippet of what happened in that space. And it really does show you that he believes what he's saying, and he's a Bitcoiner, and he understands the problem. Now, does he understand the solution? Does he understand all the stuff he's talking about? I don't know. Only time will tell. So let's not simp for politicians or any billionaire or millionaire that says Bitcoin, but it is hopeful, and it is, in my opinion, changing the conversation and moving the needle forward to some respects. Now, people will actually have to ask themselves, oh, maybe I should listen to this Bitcoin stuff. Maybe there's something here in regards to Bitcoin. Anyways, the tweet is just in: U.S. presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. Hashtag Bitcoin can be an alternative to Americans, giving them an escape from the Fed printing money. We've lost sovereignty over our monetary system, and we need to regain our sovereignty of it. You know, first contention, you guys know me. Who is we? I always get triggered when I hear we, but that's besides the point. That's another tangent. The other thing that came out of this spaces was this idea that Robert Kennedy Jr. is putting his money where his mouth is. And after the Bitcoin conference in 2023 in Miami, he doubled down on the idea. He talked to us Bitcoiners, maybe had some great conversations with Bitcoiners, and he's starting to realize what we say all the time. You cannot save in dollars, and any other asset that isn't censorship resistant can potentially be taken away from you. And if you want to prosper moving into the Great Reset, you need to own some Bitcoin. Anyways, another quote here that comes from RFK Jr. and he goes, right after the Bitcoin conference, I decided to put my money where my mouth is, and I bought 2 Bitcoin for each of my 7 children, bought 14 Bitcoin for his family. And you just love to see it. This is what we tell you guys to do all the time. You don't stack sats for your first name, you stack sats for your last name. And RFK Jr. stacking sats for his last name, for his children, trying to pass on them sats for future generations. You just love to see it. Okay, continuing on some of these quotes before I get into the little snippet and having his words for himself. We have Walker America of the Crypto Couple over here, who was basically live tweeting the spaces. So shouts out to you, Walker. Really appreciate this. And he goes, Bitcoin threatens the monopoly of the U.S. government and other governments to print endless money to fund endless wars. What do we say all the time on the show? Fiat has incentivized endless wars, and it is backed by the money printer. Again, another quote, Bitcoin allows small investors to actually have an inflation-proof currency. Right now, anyone who uses fiat currency is at the mercy of this system, which is designed to strip mine wealth from the poor and middle class and put it in the pockets of the super rich. Is this not something we talk about all the time on the show? The wealth redistribution technique mechanism that is inflation, that is taxation, and it is really separating and making the middle class poorer and poorer in regards to the uber rich class. And this is why we say all the time that you need to save in Bitcoin, because you can't save in anything else. You want to store your wealth in something that appreciates over time. And then there is another clip here, and this is not the clip that I want to touch on, but Robert Kennedy Jr. is an environmentalist, and he is also doubling down on the ideas of Bitcoin mining being good for the climate and helping sustainable energy, and further even incentivizing the use of coal and oil and gas. And he's not against it. He just realizes that, and there's another quote that I didn't bring up. He said something on the lines of, if there is pollution, then there is a subsidy behind it. And I'm going to leave that here because I know Mike is really, really close to that idea. He worked in the oil and gas, worked for Great American Mining. So I'll leave that little tidbit for him to jump in. But this is the point that I wanted to touch on. Robert Breedlove asks RFK a simple question. And he sounds like a Bitcoiner. And this is something we talk about constantly on the show. And let's just hear his own words. But shouts out to Rustin. He has taken hold of our Twitter lately. And he just tweeted this. And he goes, RFK Jr. and Robert Breedlove discussed the difference between money printing and counterfeiting. And it's a very simple question. So we don't got the whole clip. We just have Breedlove asking him, what's the difference between money printing and counterfeiting? And here is RFK's response. Just love to hear it. And it's super simple and super, super eloquent, I would say. Just short and sweet and to the point.
Well, it's legal. That's the big difference. That may be the only difference.
So there's no economic difference, just a legal one.
Yeah, I would say that's the only difference.
Thank you. That's a short answer.
Love to see it. So obviously you can tell that he's laughing. Well, we are kind of making light of it, but it's something we talk about all the time. What's the difference between you guys counterfeiting a $20 bill and the federal government continuously printing money out of thin air? There is legitimately no difference. It is still counterfeiting, just by another name. The only difference is that the Fed is legally able to counterfeit more money and inject it into the economy for the better of all Americans. And you aren't, because you're just a peasant out there and you don't have the power of the money printer. But nonetheless, I think the point still remains the same. It does sound like he understands Bitcoin. He understands the fact that the monetary system is broken, that it's rigged against the little man. And whether you like him or not, whether you believe in politicians or not, I think the point still remains the same. The Overton window is shifting, and we have a presidential candidate that is saying what Bitcoiners have been saying for a decade plus now. And I think that is just the signal in and of itself. The message that we try to talk about here every single day is starting to spread, whether that is the fact that you need to save in something that cannot be debased, that the middle class is being destroyed and devastated because of the money printer, that, printing money is no different than counterfeiting, that you need to stack sats for your last name and not your first name so you can make it through the Great Reset. To me, it does seem like he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he, I think, really does believe what he is saying. Again, I am skeptical of politicians first and foremost, and I'm also trying to temper my acceptance of RFK Jr. with the idea of I'm not going to simp for anyone just because they say Bitcoin. But man, it is very hopeful, in my opinion, that the conversation is moving forward. The needle is moving and people are talking about Bitcoin. And I think we are 9 months out of the halving. I think things are going to start to ramp up. And if you're not feeling bullish, if you're not stacking sats, if you're not mining fiat at an incredible rate right now, you need to double down, put your horse blinders on, and understand we are winning and Bitcoin incentives stay strong. The game has never been better. It's never been safer to save in Bitcoin. I think this is the best time to be stacking, and this might be the last opportunity for the average person to meet their stacking goals. So stay stacking, stay humble, stack sats, stay solvent. This is the way. But anyways, Mike, what's your thoughts on RFK Jr.? Did you catch this space, or are you just catching some of the little tidbits that I brought up?
No, I was I was listening for a little bit. I think I have to, my position. I think a lot of the people listening know my position as far as no simping for politicians. Just because we know, a lot of us know the political process. It's they can make all the grandiose promises all they want on the campaign trail. It's a different thing when you get elected and you're dealing with the corruptions of DC and the political parties like the DNC, the RNC. I don't credit a whole lot of value to his presidential prospects, because I, like some of the people in the chat are saying, I don't think he has a whole lot of chances of getting there. Kind of going with the Democratic side is probably gonna sabotage any actual real opportunities or prospects of getting into the White House. The other difficult thing too is we talked about this a little bit with on the Bitcoin Veterans podcast, specifically with Shane Hazel. For those that don't know who Shane Hazel is, he's spent significant time running for different political positions. His most recent one was governor, and I think he said he ran for Senate and House or something like that. So Shane has very explicit personal experience with just being on the trail and the campaign effort and everything. But I do think that his platform and the attention that he's garnering is bringing a lot of necessary conversation to a lot of the points that he's bringing up, especially the Bitcoin thing. And like I'm glad that Robert Breedlove asked that question as far as the counterfeiting of money. I would probably have preferred that question to be brought up outside of the Bitcoin space, because that spaces was probably largely more of an echo chamber than really anything. They they had just Bitcoin people up there with the crypto scammer host, and there wasn't really a whole lot of like honest, genuine conversation to go back and forth. But it is an important concept that a lot of people need to be aware of, is that like the just because they say it's legal through like the Federal Reserve and the Treasury of formulating money doesn't mean it's not counterfeit. Like what's the thing that Alex has been sharing? I think it was from Guy Swan. Like, don't sacrifice your time and effort and your labor for something that somebody can produce for free. Like, that's the biggest thing. Other than that, like, I'm not contributing a whole lot of effort to paying attention to RFK. I'm trying to get this is probably the most politically involved I've been. I don't know about everybody else. But I'm trying to garner a responsible understanding of all their different talking points. And I think that everybody, if they haven't picked up on it yet, they really probably should, because like I've said with you guys, like I'm of the opinion that things, like, we think things are weird now in America. We're not even into election year yet. Like, things are going to get really, really weird and really stressful.
Yeah, 100%. And to your point, obviously, I agree with you. I don't think I've ever been as this political. I used to really be like apolitical, and that's where I really fell in love with Bitcoin. It's apolitical money, which makes it extremely political, and I'm starting to understand the importance of at least being aware of what's going on. But
Yep.
also, to your point about the echo chamber, that's kind of the idea that I was thinking as well when I was hearing this. Is like, as much as I love to hear RFK Jr. say what I want him to say, I also understand that he's talking to Bitcoiners, and he obviously has an agenda. He obviously understands who his audience is. And so hopefully these ideas do spread outside of just the Bitcoin echo chamber. And at least just having this presidential candidate talk about Bitcoin, seem to understand exactly what we talk about. You know, he very obviously understands that the system is broken and it is not created or set up in a way to help the average person. And whether his intentions are pure, I think might be besides the point. We will only know in short due time, but actions do speak louder than words. And I think him buying Bitcoin, you know, saving in Bitcoin for his family, for every one of his children, I think it might be one of these things where Bitcoin changes you, you don't change Bitcoin. And as we move further into this election cycle, it's going to be very interesting to see if this conversation starts to spread outside of just, you know, Bitcoin Twitter echo chambers, whether these conversations happen on corporate press. I even saw some other clips about him on corporate press, and he's obviously tailoring his message to that audience, but he's still saying the same things that he would say with us. Maybe he's just a little more extreme because he understands that, like, oh yeah, these guys get it and they don't like the government.
And it's like we were talking before the show started. Like, and this is something that you and I have talked about in spaces, is you can't, when you're talking about complex topics, like, you can't just go straight into the extreme. Like, you can't, because people are going to react emotionally. Like, you just can't do it. Like, you can call it self-censorship all you want, but you're a bit of a LARP and a moron if you're saying it that, because
100%.
like, how many of us when we were younger were told painful truths that you hear and you're like, no, that's not how it works. It's like, you can be as emotional as you want. It doesn't change the fact of reality. But if you want the conversation to actually be fielded, like, you have to break the surface tension that everybody has over these topics. And I think I didn't stick around long enough, but I would have liked, and it might have happened in that conversation, but I would have liked the topic of hollowing out of the middle class to come up. Like we talked about in a spaces a couple days ago, where it's not just the middle class and the lower class are being heavily taxed. Like you're being taxed on what you earn, what you spend, what you invest, and what you own, because like you don't actually own a home. You're still paying property taxes on the damn thing. Like just by it, like after you build it out, like what you still have to pay property taxes. Like I think that's a little ridiculous. And then it goes further when you consider that the majority of economic activity is digital now, whether it's online or with a credit card swipe. You're also being taxed in the sense of 1 to 2% of that transaction is going to the banks. So like after what 50, probably it's probably more like 75 transactions, like basically all of that value is accumulated to the central banks. Like between the taxing and then that, where's the money going? It's not going back into everybody else's pockets. It's going into the pockets of the politicians and the bankers.
That's the question that most people either are too afraid to ask or too ignorant to ask. Where's all the money going? Like,
yeah,
where is this money coming from? What's the classic cliche meme? Follow the money and you'll understand what's actually going on.
Yeah,
Guys, just
follow
ask
the money for the
questions.
incentives.
Exactly. Ask the question, where is the money coming from? How is this money created? Why are we being forced to use a money that another man can create for free? Why is this the status quo? And I think this is where the echo chamber starts to break and the Bitcoin message starts to move into the public consciousness, and more people wake up to the idea of the money is broken, stupid. All right, let's get into the news because we got a lot to talk about. We went a little longer on the numbers than usual.
The Daily News.
The Daily News is brought to you by Blockstream Jade, built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. It's an open source hardware wallet for the cold storage of Bitcoin. Check out the brand new limited edition color, the transparent green Jade. Blockstream Jade houses a full color camera, allowing for fully air-gapped Bitcoin transactions, scan and display QR codes directly on the device, assign transactions, and verify addresses with ease. Use your Blockstream Jade with your favorite wallet software, such as Blockstream Green, Blue Wallet, Electrum, Sparrow. Get yourself a Blockstream Jade today and take self-custody of your Bitcoin.
Let's go. All right, guys, before we get into the news, we want to talk about Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville. It is a year away, literally 1 year away, July 25th to 27th, 2024 in Nashville. We're taking over Nashville. Oops. And get your ticket now, guys. The only reason we're talking about it now is because I know that you guys always complain about the price rising. Well, this is the cheapest the prices are going to be, and you want to get it today. Whether you go or not, whether you flip the ticket or not, get it today using the promo code SIMPLY, and you can get a discount. So the prices have rose a little bit. They're going to start to inch up as we start moving closer to the conference. But general admission's $349. Industry pass, if you want to get a job, is $849. The whale pass is $4,749, and you can get a discount if you use the promo code SIMPLY. I think it's 10% discount. I might be wrong. Anyways, we got Mike here today, and since I have him as my co-host, Mike went pretty viral on, when was this? Monday? Yeah, Monday. No, right. Tuesday. I have no idea. On this little research paper. And the TLDR of it is basically employees at Blackrock have determined that the most optimal Bitcoin allocation in a portfolio is 84.9%. Does this not make you feel bullish? Again, being a little skeptical of this, you got to wonder what the incentives are here. Is it because they are fiat maxis? Is it because they're trying to, bait us into getting overly leveraged and go into a bull run and then kind of short us? I don't know what's going on here, but nonetheless, the signal is getting out there, and everything we've been talking about just goes to show that Bitcoin is a must hold for everyone. And now that BlackRock's talking about it, every asset manager in the world is starting to wake up to the idea that they need to hold some Bitcoin. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get that itch and I'm starting to feel stupidly bullish. But anyways, Mike, will you give the people not only the context of this piece, this research paper, but also where you found it and what your favorite little tidbits are? And I do have all the links over here so that we can get into it. So Mike, okay. The floor is all yours.
Yeah. So the first thing that everybody needs to be aware of is on the first page at the very bottom where I highlighted it, it states that it was done. This research report was put together by a few individuals that work at BlackRock, and it is not necessarily a report by BlackRock in the technicality. Now, there's an important aspect here, because consider the size and the position of BlackRock, like as far as a corporate entity, and the amount of social capital that they command. A friend of mine that I'm working on setting up for a discussion / debate on Bitcoin veterans, because he is not a fan of Bitcoin. He's a fan of Bitcoin in the sense of he understands outside of America and the third world and the value that it brings to those communities and those individuals. And he understand, like he's totally on board with like a small, like, responsible allocation to Bitcoin in a portfolio to maximize its optimal performance, whatever. But the point being is that he and I have regular conversations on like kind of like the back and forth of like arguing the value proposition of Bitcoin. I sent this to him, and he made a good point where I was like, I understand it's not BlackRock saying it. He's like, well, that's not entirely true, because BlackRock, the size that they are, anything that comes out like this is still going to be a reference of them. Because like, for those of you that are in a leadership position, if somebody under your wing screws up, that is your screw up, right? Like, you have to own what the people that are in your charge are doing. Now, so that it's that in a roundabout way, this is still BlackRock stating this, or coming out with this kind of like report. So the going back to the 84.9% allocation there, I saw some questions in the chat early on. It's like, well, what is going on with the other 15.1%? They state that for an optimal Bitcoin allocation for a standard 64 portfolio would be 84.9%, with the remaining 15.1% broken down into a 60-40 split between equities and bonds. It says it right after that second line in between the two, the yellow and the green. There's also important distinctions within this report that people also need to be aware of. So this report was specifically looking at skewness and bliss. Skewness is, as you know, in Wall Street fashion, is just a word to obfuscate and confuse the average individual to have to put in more effort to understand what they're talking about. Skewness is talking about asymmetry. So an investable asset that has a positive skew has an asymmetrical return, which means that it has the tendency to act independently of other market participants or investable assets, which is something that was popularized by both Marty Bent and Anthony Pompliano starting back in 2017 when they both first got started on their whole kind of like rise to fame. The other point would be bliss. They were what they're meaning when they're talking about bliss in this report is that bliss is kind of like the expectation of past returns continuing on into the future, which is something that a lot of us in Bitcoin also kind of like push out, right? Like, past performance is not indicative of future returns. But when you're doing kind of like this portfolio forecasting, what else do we have that like to base our assumptions off of? And it's also that bliss is also relying on kind of like the cycle theory, which we all talk about. Like every bull market or every like full halving cycle, we have a bull market, and there's diminishing returns in each cycle, right? So they are still making the assumption that going forward, the following cycles will continue to have like returns that are comparable to the past, which we know is not necessarily true. But Opti, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is where I was going. Like, we're like connected or something. It's like ESPN or something like that. But so in the blue and in the purple, they go in to talk about specifically the skewness, that asymmetry that I just described prior. And they state, they do it very, very cleverly. At first, they say that Bitcoin has a positive skew, which sets it apart from hedge funds, high yield bonds, and real estate. Those are all negatively skewed, which means they are not asymmetrical. They tend to flow together. Later on in the purple, they state that also what has a negative, other assets that have a negative skewness for the asset classes include equity indices, government bonds, currencies, and commodities. Meaning that Bitcoin is the only one that has an asymmetrical like price action market return. Like they could have just come out and said that, but by splitting it up in the way that they did, it makes it seem less impactful that Bitcoin truly is a unique asset.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, first and foremost, I think this does lead into the idea that we've been saying for a while that everyone needs to hold a little bit of Bitcoin. Now, again, it's kind of a theme that we touched on in the beginning with like, don't simp for politicians. And of course, don't simp for Larry Fink and BlackRock or anything coming out of BlackRock. But I think the point still remains the same, that once you have, big name people endorsing Bitcoin, endorsing an 85% allocation to Bitcoin, the floodgates start to open up, and every asset manager in the world, and we've been talking about this for a minute, is obviously scrambling right now to either catch up to the Bitcoin message, try to understand the Bitcoin message. And I saw some other information coming out of the Financial Action Task Board, I think it was. They are also scrambling to make some guidelines to understand what the hell is going on in crypto asset world. So maybe we'll cover that soon. But anyways, my point here is obviously comedic. Keep it things light. Well, guys, you know what you can do now when you're orange pilling your normie friends out there? It's like BlackRock says that the complete and the best allocation to your portfolio is 85% of Bitcoin. And I've been very, very, very conservative. I usually say 10%, but now we can lean on BlackRock and be like 85% is the ideal portfolio allocation. But anyways, before we continue to go on, Mike, you did come on a while ago and you were talking about this idea about what you think might be the reason that Larry Fink got orange pilled, and it's coming from the oil and gas direction. And we have some more receipts on this, and I want to touch on this right now so that we can continue to give you the receipts and at least try to explain different ideas of why BlackRock might be going full in, well, not full in, but endorsing Bitcoin. Obviously, we know they're fiat maxis. Let's get that out of the way. They're obviously fiat maxis. But as I've been saying as a joke, ESG or BlackRock and Larry Fink just came out and said that Bitcoin is ESG friendly. And now we know why. Well, listen to Mike a couple of months ago. What was this? Episode 775. So I think that was
like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, like 3 weeks. Oh, okay, here we go. July 6th. 21 days ago, 3 weeks ago. Listen to Mike Stradamus, always ahead of the game, always seeing things that few are seeing. And then we got some other news stories that came out after this whole BlackRock stuff. So let's listen to Mike here for a second. It's 1 minute little clip, and you can see where his thinking is, and then we'll let Mike take the road on this one. And not really listening to the very end of that interview about him saying something on the lines of decarbonizing oil and gas and embracing Bitcoin mining as well. So I don't know. This is what someone was saying in the chat. This is me just trying to TLDR his position. I probably strawmanned his position, but
so
yeah, jump in, Mike.
That's actually something that I actually wanted. Like I thought about commenting on, but we didn't get to the topic. It's like I'm of the position that Larry Fink got orange pilled potentially by the oil and gas industry, because if we are technically speaking, Bitcoin mining does in a way decarbonize the oil and gas industry by consuming the flare gas, like the excess vented and wasted flare gas. So like there is that kind of approach, but I'm sure that you guys would agree that that's probably not his entire like incentive or stated like motivation.
Love it. So even when we get bullish, we're very skeptical. And anyways, the reason I bring this up is because it's something that also got dropped. We haven't brought it up on the show. And since we're talking about BlackRock, let's double down on this idea. Let's maybe even speculate a little bit on what's going on. And I have Mike here so he can flush this idea out. But recently, what was this date? July 19th. So last week, BlackRock, obviously they've been very vocal in regards to ESG friendly and sustainability sustainability. Well, they just added a Saudi oil executive to its board. So let's get into this article for a little bit, and then I'll give the floor to Mike. So Blackrock, the world's biggest asset manager, said Monday it has appointed Amin Nasir, chief executive of oil giant Saudi Aramco, to its board of directors, despite the New York-based firm's pledge to accelerate investment in climate-friendly companies. Here's the point where I tell you guys that Larry Fink has just come out and said that Bitcoin is ESG friendly. And maybe it's because of oil and gas. Maybe it's because they're starting to realize that they can mine and make profits by hooking up Bitcoin miners to flared gas. I don't know. This is, we're reading into things. We're trying to connect the dots here. But anyways, Mike, you've been on this thread for a minute. So what's your thoughts on all this stuff? Is this why they are starting to change the tune? Like, what's going on here? Are they going full Bitcoin bullish, or are they just following the fiat leads?
Yeah. So actually this is actually perfect that we're doing this today, because yesterday afternoon I also was part of a spaces with the TerraWolf team, and Blake King and Max from Standard Power and Lisa Huff all joined the conversation, and funny enough, for the Gary Cardone, Grant Cardone's brother, also was part of the conversation. He was involved in natural gas production back in the day, and we were actually discussing this as well. One thing to bring up that I was not aware of, even that Gary Cardone mentioned, was that when we think of the oil and gas majors, most of us think Shell, Exxon, BP, Chevron, right? ConocoPhillips. But the biggest producers are the sovereigns out in the Middle East, like Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, or even going internationally, like there's going to be like Venezuela, Brazil. Like these are the ones that are making even more money. We just don't know about it because we don't get to see it because they're not public companies that are in the American sphere. And I can say anecdotally that I can't say who, but I know of individuals or companies that are involved with being a part of the build out of bringing Bitcoin mining operations to the Middle East specifically for that reason. So there's also a concept to think about why, because I actually wrote it down. Someone in the chat, Moonshine Fuel, he had asked, why is BlackRock doing this now? And the reason is to think about it this way. We've already talked about the relationship with oil and gas and Bitcoin mining, of consuming flare gas and contributing to the ESG kind of like narrative, even though, as Elaine said in the chat, the narrative is falling apart and it's evaporating. I agree with that. But think about it in this regard. We just saw the report from BlackRock arguing the investment justification for Bitcoin as a standalone asset. But Bitcoin itself, like we know, is not like you don't separate Bitcoin from Bitcoin mining and vice versa. They are one and the same. Bitcoin mining produces an investable asset that also provides a mechanical industrial justification for consumption of energy. What other avenue is there out there that's available today? Like with gold, does mining gold also provide like the kind of return that Bitcoin does? Does mining gold like reduce carbon emissions? No. Does it justify? Does it give a justification for spooling up like any renewable source? Like you can have the cringy position on renewable all you want. Like I'm not a big fan of it, but I am a fan of diversified energy generation, just to improve the resiliency of a society or a grid. And one thing we discussed yesterday in that spaces that I mentioned is that Bitcoin mining allows for the justification of, say, there is an environment where wind is a very consistent like resource, like in the Midwest, like back in Iowa, where I'm from. Bitcoin mining allows an avenue of return that doesn't just rely on producing the power during those demand times. Because I can't remember the term that was mentioned about wind, but there's kind of like what they call like a duck bill or something like that response, where you have the wind power, but it's not always at the peak demand times for the grid. So like Bitcoin mining allows for the consumption and the justification and the return for these projects to be able to build up, and produce power and provide power when it's necessary, and then shut those miners down when the grid needs it. So I think I think that this is really like the aha moment for BlackRock and Larry Fink. They're like, oh shit, this isn't just digital gold. Like this is something completely different. And then you get into the talking points that I like to talk about all the freaking time, is that like that relationship that Bitcoin mining provides, that also allows for rapid, aggressive expansion of not just energy generation, but infrastructure. Because I've mentioned it time and time again, is the American Society of Civil Engineers back in 21 or 22 stated that America's infrastructure and generation capacity is a C+ rating. Like that's not good. Like you don't want that, especially in a modernized information era where like we rely on power for everything. Like like these aha moments, they have to be just completely blowing Larry Fink's mind to the point of where like I don't like, there's no justifiable argument against it. Like there isn't. I don't like, you have to do some serious gymnastics to claim that all of those points are a negative.
Yeah, 100%. And no matter what the corporate press psyop campaigns like Change the Code want to say, I think now and for the last couple of years, there's irrefutable proof that Bitcoin mining is good for planet Earth. And anyone that is a environmentalist, anyone that's concerned about planet Earth and the future survival and the use of energy, at this point, I think there's so much evidence out there that Bitcoin mining is a must in every country and it's a benefit to humanity. And then, of course, that's not even talking about the fact that you can save in something that can't be debased, censorship resistant money for a world that is going crazy on power, digital money for the digital world. I think it's becoming more and more clear to everyone out there that it only takes a few individuals to embrace Bitcoin for this thing to really get crazy. And again, I hate being the cliche Bitcoiner, but this next bull market is setting up to be something that might be very, very special. Again, this time might be different, but what do we know? Stay humble, stack sats, stay solvent. All we are doing is we're bringing you the receipts. And hey, people at Blackrock, or maybe even Larry Fink himself, are out here being more bullish than we are. I tell you guys, just be conservative, save 10% of your paycheck, live within the 90% of your means, and you will be good moving forward. And we have people at BlackRock saying, hey, you have an investment portfolio, it should be 85% Bitcoin. Like, couldn't be making this up. This was not on my bingo card moving forward. Having presidential candidates on both sides of the aisle being bullish on Bitcoin. We have, the evil BlackRock asset manager embracing Bitcoin. And you guys are still out here bearish and thinking that this next bull run isn't going to be different.
Well,
couldn't be me.
And it's important to, again, I think it's important to add a disclaimer to this every single time we talk about this whole BlackRock and Bitcoin ETF disclaimer or caveat or whatever. Just because they're providing an ETF does not mean that it is good for the average individual to be exposed to it.
Yep.
Because they're going to be setting it up in the sense of like, you're gaining exposure to the dollar return, but they're going to be the ones holding the Bitcoin. So just keep that in mind. Like
100%.
And I think, I can't remember. I think it was for an article for you guys, or us. I'm part of the Simply team. I don't know why I keep doing that. But I explicitly wrote that Larry Fink is he's explicitly providing serious support to the hodlers, because the people that get the exposure to the ETF, yeah, cool, you got more dollars, dope. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. But for the hodlers that actually responsibly custody it, like that's power. Because then think about all the hodlers internationally, like those that are down in El Salvador that have Bitcoin and their cost of living is significantly lower than the US. Like, if this bull run does turn out to be something special, like it's shaping up to be, El Salvador and El Salvadorians are going to be in a wildly exciting position.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, Mike, playing a little devil's advocate, we have a Wondershare. He's been in here being very skeptical, saying that the leak or this time of the leak of this research paper is basically leading the sheep to the slaughter. It's expecting people to get over leveraged and then they can, I don't know, short the market or just get people wrecked. So first, tell these people where you got the information and then what's your thoughts on this, and we'll move into the culture.
Oh yeah, I forgot to plug that. So the way I got this PDF was actually from a friend of mine on Twitter. His name's Alec Jones. And he shared it to me on Telegram through he has a little group chat that he just started up, and he literally started it up with this paper. I can't tell you where he got it from. I'm not really too interested in that because it is online. Joe Burnett retweeted. So Alan Watts took one of the screenshots on Twitter and shared it, and Joe Burnett found the online link to the actual like research paper where it's published. So if you guys go look up his account, he has that. And then if you follow me and you don't want to necessarily do the work, just shoot me a DM and I'll send you the link and you can look it up for yourself. What was the other question that you asked?
Larry Fink's leading the sheep to the slaughter.
He certainly could be. And that's another reason why guys like myself and Vikingo, we try to like really push forward. It's like, guys, you can be bullish all you want, but you have to manage your exposure. Like you have to be smart about it. Like you have to stay solvent. Because there is because like I'm still of the position, I'm not listening to any of these talking heads or furus on Twitter saying that there's no, like, especially with what Fed Powell said yesterday. Oh, we're no longer projecting or forecasting a recession. It's like, okay, that's what you guys said before 2008. Great. You're making me really fucking optimistic. But there is still the potential or the likelihood that they're trying to set up for like some sort of like liquidity squeeze to fill up short positions. And then like we go into a recession and they make boatloads of money and steal everybody's Bitcoin or something like that. Like that is possible. I'm not saying it's not. But that's also why I'm not saying put all your money into Bitcoin right now and follow their like what they're saying and go 85%, because that doesn't make sense. Like the whole game for this, the whole game for the Bitcoin story is surviving long enough as the destruction of the dollar continues. That's the game.
100%. We are in the great transition. And as we can tell, and if you're on Bitcoin Twitter, you hear this all the time. It is 11th grade math, and they have to continue to print money. Now, do we know when the music stops? No, but we have the tools today to protect ourselves, and it's about having more and more people hold Bitcoin. It's about being awake. It's about understanding what the game is. And hey, if Larry Fink is embracing Bitcoin, just make sure you stay humble, you stack stats, you stay solvent. If they're trying to catch you guys off guard, catch you guys getting over leverage, well, again, guys, this is why we tell you all the time, stay humble. Do not over leverage yourself. Make sure you are in a position to pay your bills, pay your rent, eat food, and your excess and profits are in Bitcoin.
Real quick, Robert Vermouth in the chat brings up a really good point. The ETF does settle in Bitcoin, yes, but it's literally no different than an exchange. It's got more friction points of getting that Bitcoin to you. So just keep that in mind. It can settle in Bitcoin, but you have multiple more steps. Then it's in my opinion, it's arguably worse than having your Bitcoin on Coinbase right now. I would not recommend it.
Yes, as Vake said in the chat, guys, survive till hyper Bitcoinization. Don't get stupidly bullish. You got to protect your neck, guys. Protect yourself first. Protect your family. This is about stacking for the long run. Lower your time preference. Delay gratification. Yes, we are seeing a lot of bullish signals. Yes, the Bitcoin conversation is going mainstream, but it still doesn't change the fundamental process of stay humble, stack sat, stay solvent. This is the way, guys. We beat this over and over and over, and we repeat it, and you guys get mad at us, but new people are coming in, and some of you guys get overly greedy, and we are going into a bull run. Halving's 9 months away. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm starting to feel that tingle. It's starting to get frothy out here. Anyways, let's get into the culture because we went extremely long today.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by swanbitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit swanbitcoin.com today.
Okay, of course. One last plug, guys. Make sure you guys get to Pacific Bitcoin Festival October 5th through 6th this year, 2023. If you're on the West Coast, you can't make it to Miami, get to Pacific Bitcoin Festival. We will be there. We'll be hanging out in LA. October is the best time to be on the West Coast. I'm from the West Coast. I'm a SoCal boy, and October is when the real summer happens. Anyways, get yourself a general admission ticket. As you can tell, the prices are increasing on everything. So you want to get them today. This is why we tell you guys to get them now, because you guys will complain later. General admission tickets, $600. The VIP tickets, $2,900. We will be in LA hanging out at the hangar October 5th through 6th, 2023. Okay, guys, this one, shouts out to my boy. I don't even know what your name is. OptiField E-Boy Ice Cream Yum Yum Lick Lick. That's his latest name, I think. He keeps telling me to talk about coin joins, whether that is Join Market or Samurai, or even some of you guys still love and fight for Wasabi out there. And I just wanted to bring up this story today because this is a story that I've been seeing for a while. And we got this new article out here, and we got a new development on this. And I absolutely love this article. It really makes me feel good because anytime we can make fun of chain analysis, I love to do it. So shouts out to Lola Leets for writing this article for CoinDesk. She's a great privacy advocate on Twitter, and highly recommend you follow her. She's a savage, and she's really about it, and I love her for this. Anyways, this article over here on CoinDesk is headlined entitled, Chain Analysis Investigations Lead is Unaware, in quotes, of scientific evidence the surveillance software works. So, renowned lawyer Tor Eklund is poking holes in the U.S. government's case against alleged Bitcoin fog creator Roman Sterlingov by poking holes in chain analysis forensics privacy advocate Lola Leets writes. So, Elizabeth Bisbee, head of investigations at Chain Analysis Government Solutions, testified that she was unaware of scientific evidence for the accuracy of chain analysis reactor software used by law enforcement. An unreleased transcript of June 23 hearing shared with CoinDesk shows. So getting into this article and giving you guys just the meat of the article, Bisbee was testifying in a case between the U.S. government and Roman Sterlingov, the alleged creator of the once popular Bitcoin fog cryptocurrency mixer used to anonymize Bitcoin transactions. Chain analysis reactor software was used to track cryptocurrency payments in Sterlingov's criminal investigation and is now being challenged by Sterlingov's defense. Sterlingov is represented by Eklund, who has made a career out of defending hackers and technology providers. Eklund said chain analysis reactor is a, quote, black box algorithm that relies on junk science. In a hearing aimed to establish the admissibility of expert testimony, Bisbee was pressed for details on the accuracy of the reactor software chain analysis sells to governments for law enforcement purposes, including what evidence the company has that suggests it works. Anyways, Bisbee said she was unable to provide the court with statistical error rates for Chain Anal's reactor software. She further denied being aware of any scientifically peer-reviewed papers or anything published anywhere attesting to the accuracy of Chain Anal's reactor. Instead, Chain Anal reportedly judges its software accuracy using customer feedback, and Bisbee's statements are in line with a blog post published by competitors Coinbase, which describes blockchain analytics as more of an art than a science. Coinbase offers blockchain analytics services to law enforcement via its tracer software. For Chain Anal's part, the company noted in a July 18th court declaration, there is no doubt about the reactor software's findings, although not peer-reviewed in an academic sense. The company's clustering heuristics, the algorithm used to find relationships between blockchain addresses, comes to deterministic conclusions that can be independently verified and reproduced. The same statement noted the company is unaware of margins of error rates for the reactor software and has not gathered and record false positives and negative rates for its software overall. Anyway, I brought this article up today because it really just goes to show that the heuristics that government agencies are using to track the Bitcoin networks are in many senses broken. As we showed today, it's deterministic. It's more of an art than science. And the reason I brought this up today, and the reason it's part of the culture, is because my boy in the chat, Opti's Field something something something, he always trolls me. He constantly tells me that every time I bring up wallets, give you guys the best practices of running your own node, taking Bitcoin into self-custody, that it's never finally fully secured unless you are not coin joining that coin. Now, that might be a hot take. I don't necessarily agree to many extent, but the point remains the same. As we've been showing and as we continue to show, the heuristics out there are broken. And if you want to help preserve privacy, coin join your coin using Join Market, Samurai Wallet, Whirlpool, and a lot of people love Wasabi. I know Nico's not a fan of Wasabi, but the tools are out there, and I'm not a privacy advocate by all means, or a privacy expert by all means. I'm a privacy advocate, and I highly recommend you guys use the coin joining techniques, the software that's out there, because if they are acknowledging themselves that their heuristics are broken, well, let's break them more. Coin join your coin. Make sure you're a part of the circular economy. Make sure you're coin joining your coin, putting it into Lightning nodes, Lightning channels, so that we can continue to win on the privacy front. Yes, Bitcoin is a pseudonymous ledger. Yes, everything is public, but sending this coin, making sure it never touches an exchange, coin joining that, and continuing to flood the circular economy with more and more Bitcoin so that more and more jumps are in between your KYC Bitcoin and exchanges and your identity. I think this is the way. Continue to spread that signal, guys. Whether you've tried CoinJoin or not, whether you believe in CoinJoin or not, I think right now is the time for you guys to experiment a little bit. Don't mix your whole stash. Be smart out here. Be tactical. But the point of today is, chain anal, by their own admission, doesn't even work. And now we have it in the courts in a paper showing that they understand that it's just deterministic, that it's more art than science. And that's out the Sterlingov of Bitcoin Fog. It seems like he may be innocent, and maybe they got the wrong guy. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but the point remains the same. You want good UTXO hygiene right now. If you are buying KYC Bitcoin, make sure you're obviously getting your Bitcoin into a wallet that is KYC free. And then further, if you want to preserve your privacy more, then think about using the coin join implementations, whether it's Join Market, whether it's Whirlpool from Samurai, whether it's Wasabi Wallet. Again, I don't know what's the best tools out there. I know there's a big privacy war, but the tools are there. I think if you want to be conservative, then use Join Market, even though it's a little more clunky. But hey, I always recommend Sparrow. Sparrow has Whirlpool implementations in there. Yes, I know there's contention with Samurai and all that good stuff, but let's break these heuristics. Continue to spread Bitcoin in the circular economy. If you are so inclined, use CoinJoin, and let's further break these heuristics, because fuck the government. All right, Mike, what's your thoughts on this? I do have another news story, but we're getting a little long, so I gotta shorten this one up.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. My stuff has been sitting in a hardware wallet since like 2019. So and none of this coin joining stuff had come out like at that time, at least that I hadn't seen. So I'm personally not of an opinion to risk that stack to try and coin join it and move it elsewhere. Like I'm just leaving it in cold storage and not touching it.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that, guys. I know we say it all the time. There's a lot of people on Bitcoin Twitter that'll tell you what to do with your money, but also be smart here. Make sure that you think about all consequences. Yes, maybe you want some money that's private, but also on that same frame, maybe you want to make sure that KYC Bitcoin stays KYC'd if you ever want to use it to buy a house or whatever. Like, just be smart out here. If you want to go full cypherpunk, by all means, the tools are here. We will never tell you what to do, but I think it just further proves the idea. And I bring up this article all the time. It's one of Beautyon's article. I know Mike gives me shit for it, but he's got this article. I forget what it's called, but it's like Bitcoin and Conway's Game of Life. Anyway, the TLDR is we are the sacrificial lambs right now. We are the pioneers of this network, and on a certain long enough time frame, the circular economy of Bitcoin will be untrackable. They won't be able to control or track every wallet transaction. And this is why it's so important to get more and more people holding Bitcoin in wallets that they control, getting Bitcoin off the exchanges, and continuing to spread the circular economy. Buy things with your Bitcoin. Don't be afraid of it. It is good. It is money. It can go around the world. You can send it easily. You can send Bitcoin easier than you can send it through a bank. And this is a feature, not a bug. So I just wanted to highlight this. The options are there for the newer people. Don't risk your whole stack. But if you have these privacy concerns, there is CoinJoin, guys. And, again, Join Market, Samurai Wallet, and even some people say Wasabi. I stopped using Wasabi, but hey, I haven't CoinJoined some coin in a minute, so now I might have to brush up my coin joining implementations and get out here. Anyways, we're running late, so let me get into the memes, because this is all you come for. You only come for the memes. Oh wait, actually, sorry. Before I do that, I almost forgot to talk about our boys over at the Orange Pill app. Guys, I tell you this all the time, and shouts out to everyone that gives me love on the Orange Pill app. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. And shouts out to the few people that told me that they are the lone Bitcoiner in the area. I really feel for you guys, because I remember when I was the crazy Bitcoiner in my own area, but now I'm surrounded by Bitcoiners and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't feel like I'm thriving more. But if you don't have Bitcoiners in your area, get on the Orange Pill app. Stack friends who stack sats. If you seem to be the only Bitcoiner in your area, create an event and try to get in touch with other Bitcoiners. There's a lot of different things you can do on the app. You can send zaps, you can comment with people, you can get in touch with people when you're traveling, but you need to build a local Bitcoin community. This is the way. This is how we change the world, starting from the ground up. So get on the Orange Pill app, stack friends who stack sats. But let's get into the meme review.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboomracks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboomracks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboomracks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboomracks.
Wait, guys, hold on. Shout out to McLovin. Opti, you're still crazy. Yes, I know, I am crazy. Anyways, this is the meme review, your favorite portion of the show, where you send us memes on Twitter. Tag me at simplybitcointv or at Optimus Fields, whatever you guys want to do. I will scroll through them. I will drop them in our show notes, and I will try to get them on the show. Some of them are a little spicy. I do my best to keep this a little PG, maybe PG-13. So, keep that in mind. Nico gets mad at me because we're trying not to nuke our channel. But drop your meme review score in the chat, and I will review them live. But of course, tweets are the bullets, memes are the artillery. We are in an information war. It is important to spread that signal, to get the calls of action out there, to wake up your normies bit by bit, make palatable little meme torpedoes so that people start to wake up, so you incept the ideas that we know and love. And then, of course, ridicule the corporate press and make some funnies so that your friends' heads stay in the game. Anyways, drop your meme review chat over there, or meme review score in the chat, and we will cover it live. Okay, this first one. I'm not totally sure how I feel about this one, Kim. You told me you were going to make this one in the chat yesterday, but in hindsight, it feels a little iffy. Anyways, I'm going to put it up anyways. This is Kim Gage, and he goes, Reverend Fields hears confessions from a young Peter Schiff, hashtag Bitcoin. And this is because I was talking about Spencer Schiff and Peter Schiff yesterday. And I just, did the St. Opti thing. I'm giving you guys some positivity. Anyways, we got a little kid here. I'm guessing it's Peter Schiff. And he goes, I thought about buying gold again, Father, and I'm the Reverend. And he goes, Peter, gold is a wily temptress, but we must stay humble and stack sats and stay humble. And look at Reverend Fields over here. Oh, man. All right, I'm not even going to go into why this one feels a little iffy, but you already know the deal. All right, this next meme is by @StaunchOrange, and he just tagged me, Optimus Fields meme review, and we got Homer, and I forget what the neighbor's name is, Flanders. We got Homer and Flanders skiing, and Flanders goes, hey, Homer, do you know what your shitcoin is backed by? And Homer looks at him like, what? And Flanders just smiles and goes, nothing at all. And then Homer over here is just cringing because Flanders is right and your shitcoin is backed by nothing. It is absolute trash. There's Bitcoin and there's shitcoin.
What's the second best? There is no second best.
Okay. This next meme is by Greg Zaj, and he goes, Bitcoin don't give AF. And we have the Bitcoin logo or green blob. It's going through, or it's encapsulated in a square, and it's 30K. And then the number goes up and it goes 31K. And then the blob just gets absolutely devastated with a punch, and it says 29K. And then the Bitcoin price, the Bitcoin market just smiles with glee, and he goes, is that all you got, motherfucker? We are out here. Doesn't matter what you do to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still here. Number goes up. This is the way. Okay, this next one is by Having Party, aka @HavingPartyMF on Twitter. And this is for all you guys out there with no girlfriends that are getting neglected and rejected. It's okay. This one will be manifested in time. Anyways, we got a girl here crying. We got an e-girl here crying. And it goes, when you hear that guy you placed in the friend zone is a whole coiner. Let's go. There's hope for you guys still. Okay, this next meme is by Maxie's Club, and it goes 466, accept it. And we have a Bitcoin Zen Pepe over here, and it goes, if it can be destroyed by Bitcoin, it deserves to be destroyed by Bitcoin. And it opens up its eyes, and it's got laser eyes. This is the way. Okay, this next one, it's just a progression of the market. This is where we are, guys. I try to do my best to avoid putting charts on the show, but it's a meme. It's a good meme. Anyways, we got this meme here by The Rational Root, and it goes, having progress, 81%, #Bitcoin. And you can see historically the Bitcoin price after the halving, 81% after the halving, and it looks like we are right on time. Everything is going just as planned. So what do we got? What's usually a couple of months going into the halving. I guess this is like 9 months. Anyways, historically, it looks very similar. The price history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and we are fully in line to repeat the cycles of the past, or at least the basic form of the cycle. So if this is your first cycle, just buckle in, stay humble, stack sats, stay solvent. Make sure you make it through hyper Bitcoinization. Do not get over leverage. Just keep stacking sats, keep learning, keep doubling down on your UTXO hygiene. Get a wallet that you control, whether that's a mobile wallet, whether that's moving into a hardware signing device, whether that is running your own node like Bitcoin Core or Electrum, whatever. Now is the time. This is the calm before the storm. But as you can kind of see, it looks like we're going to be crab marketing, guys. So you might have...
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. You might have an opportunity to stack them sats and hit your stacking goals before the halving and before we go into the leg up of the bull run. Anyways, this last meme is by our boy Take the Ride, aka Nate_Hudson_ on Twitter. And we have a Jerry here in a car, and this is all the normies out there. This is why he makes Jerry be the quintessential normie. And we got Jerry driving his car from Rick and Morty, and he goes, your money is fake, your food and water are being poisoned, all these wars are based on lies, your country is run by a bunch of and you're all too distracted by bullshit to do anything about it. Jeez. Man, it really is mind-blowing that this is the way, that this is the truth of the matter. Everything is fake, guys. This is why we are Bitcoiners. This is why we double down on Bitcoin, because the only pure signal in the world is Bitcoin.
Man, I gotta say real quick that the chat has really sucked at putting down their meme scores.
Oh, yeah, you're supposed to put it out now. I literally had the ticker on there the whole time so you guys can do it. Okay, but now they'll get to it now. They'll get to it now. My meme review score is this bimetal saw. The wall saw. The only reason this is my meme review score is because shouts out to Ulrich. It came with my Declaration of Monetary Independence physical.
Nice.
So
nice.
This is a saw. It came. I don't know what it's for. It might be to trim the wood. I'm unsure, but it came with it. I honestly thought this was like something that you hang up, but no, I realized yesterday that it's a saw. It was,
Why did you ask him why he sent you that?
No, I didn't even. I was just like, okay, hey, look, I have a saw now. Okay, I'll find good use for this.
My meme score is meme review score, not meme rescore. I'm gonna throw a little bit of history into the conversation. Is an old iPod Touch that I still have. For those that enjoyed these, they looked exactly like an iPhone, but they were not the same thing. Back when you didn't have the music on the iPhone yet.
Amazing. It's almost like you're foreshadowing that we haven't found the killer app for Bitcoin yet, and Bitcoin's about to go mainstream just like the iPhone. All right, guys. So you're dropping your meme review score, chat meme review in the score. We're going to cover the nodal, guys. You need to run a node. I don't have a physical one. Nico has the physical nodals, but scan the QR code and you can come over here to nodal.eu, get yourself a nodal 2, the big bad boy for $1,000, or get yourself a nice red nodal dojo. If you want a coin join, it's got Samurai on there, or get yourself a nodal 1. Cheapest one, still giving you guys what you need. They're ready made, set to go. This is the way, guys. I don't care how you run a node. Obviously, if you want a really cool, shiny red one like this one that stands alone, that's sexy, that is a point of conversation in your house, get yourself a nodal. But you need to run a node. Verify these transactions for yourself. Stop trusting people. This is not the way. This is the whole point of Bitcoin. You don't have to trust people. Scan the QR code right here as I get to these meme review scores and we cover the meme review scores. All right, guys. I don't have music yet, but we're working on it. We're working on the intro and we're working on the music for you guys because we know you love the music. And let's see. Okay, we got a bunch in here. Okay, it's not all right. We gotta delay a little bit.
Sometimes you gotta call them out a little bit.
We gotta delay a little bit. Okay, first meme review score is by Hammersaw, and it says, "I give those memes a nectarine that looks like the BTC logo." Let's go. Okay, this next meme. Let me see. I'm not gonna have to filter. Okay, McLovin meme score. Opti's Gen Mod Fund goes parabolic in sync with the BTC bull run. Yes, guys, I told everyone in the chat or in spaces, I did add some mod privileges. I will give some more people mod privileges. Give me some time. I can only do so much while I'm live.
No time. Do everything at once.
I know. I tried to. If you guys show up every single day, I know some of you guys show up every single day. There's a couple wild cards that I don't know if I can trust you to be mods yet, but I'm giving mod access so that we can keep our chat clean as more and more people come in. It's hard for me to, watch everything going on as we're going live. So mod access coming to some of you guys, and I gave a few already. Anyways, the P-Man band goes, I give those memes 2 million sats gold stored in 2017. Never stop. Let's go. Okay, this next one, Elaine score. Bitcoin is the wiliest temptress. Once you know, you know. Bless you, stackers. Yes, this is the way. Hodl coin, I give those memes a cold, sleepy UTXO. F you, Fink. All right. Oh. Okay, let's go. UTXO says, I give these memes my 14-inch saw blade. Let's go. Blade Maxis. Okay, throwback. Skip on down the road. 8 out of 11. 8 out of 11. That's the score. Okay. P-Man Van says, we see the memes before the score. No, drop the score before the meme. Wait. gonna adopt this. Yeah, whatever. This next one, stat-wise, Jan X. I give these memes an 85% Blackrock Bitcoin allocation. Let's go. Okay, a few more. I rate these memes a pound of centimeters and 84 feet and 9 inches. I don't know.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool.
Doesn't make sense, but shouts out to you. Mr. Potato, I give these memes a big cup of horchata. Let's go. Okay. Couple more. Jose S. Bam, these memes are worth half of a Blackrock. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Can I say this one? Yes, I can. Opti Fields, not going to say the name. Gmodder says, score. My metal seed plate surviving the ultimate durability test. Augustus Carson sitting on it. Okay. Let's go. All right. Randmore score equal Opti doesn't know hacksaw. Oh, is that what it is? A hacksaw? All right, hacksaw. All right, bet. It is what it is. Let's see. Wait, I'm getting one more. Last one. Rave Elevator. I scored the memes a $15 mod wrench attack. All right. Let's go. I see. There's some contention on mods. I will add a few of you guys to the mods. Don't worry, I got you. Let's see. Wait, I'm getting roasted in the chat. Anyways. You already know the deal. We will be back for one more show tomorrow. Nico will be back. He's at Mining Disrupt today. I think he's actually on a panel as we speak. So if you're in Miami, it's probably a little late, but maybe you guys can hang out and see him. But Mike, pleasure to have you on. I think we did a great job today. We speculated, we gave them the sauce. But before we go, Mike, let's talk about some of your articles that have gone viral on Zero Hedge.
Just the latest one would be I titled it "The Simpocalypse is Upon Us." For those of you that want to give that a read, I talked about just how much simping is going beyond the whole OnlyFans conversation. It is well within to the celebrities and influencers and politicians realm of people just sucking at the teat, taking everything that they have to say as gospel and dogma. It's stuff that needs to stop. And to be honest, I do think it goes back to the money. People aren't really comfortable with standing their ground unless they have the freedom of having some sort of wealth to kind of stand by, to use as a third leg, as it were, to kind of use as a foundation. But we can continue this conversation in Spaces. We've been going on quite a bit.
Yeah. We'll keep this going in Spaces, guys. And of course, I put it as a ticker. It's supposed to be just sitting there. But go follow Mike at the Mike Hobart on Twitter and keep in touch with him. Anyways, thank you, Mike. Jump in the Spaces and we'll continue this combo. Guys, appreciate every single one of you guys showing love. Appreciate all the new heads in here as well. It goes to show that the 100 likes that you guys give us every single day is really helping us push us in the algorithms. And that's what it's all about. It's about spreading that Bitcoin signal. We're just Bitcoiners talking about Bitcoin, talking about things we love, and viewing the world through the lens of Bitcoin. There's so much problems with the world, and we really do think that Bitcoin fixes this. We know what the problem is. Few people know what the solution is. We're also in audio-only form on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Fountain, part of the Value for Value economy. We love you guys. We will be back for our normal show tomorrow with Nico. But like Mike was saying, we will be in Twitter Spaces till 2 p.m. So another 20 minutes. Maybe we'll go a little longer. Anyways, love you guys. We will see you tomorrow. Peace out.